Hello everybody, it's Tim again, this time for a movie review. I'm doing a review for Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. Now this is the third film in the childhood terror or whatever, Poohverse or whatever the hell it's called, that consisted of Blood and Honey and then Blood and Honey 2. Blood and Honey 1 I did not like at all. It was pretty much just a low-grade slasher flick with little to no effort put into it. The second one I did think was better, still didn't really like it, but I think I remember putting it down as like time waster. This one from 1 to 4 stars for this Peter Pan one, I'd give it 1. This sucked. I could see some potential here, but overall, it sucked. My problem with this one is kind of similar to the first one, Blood and Honey, is in the fact that this is really just a random horror slasher flick, low brow slasher flick, low budget, B movie. And if you remove like the Peter Pan references or whatever, this could work as like its own movie, like own low budget slasher flick, and it would probably be passable if you corrected some things, like the silly, stupid ending. It would probably be passable. But as is, it sucks. This is a pretty basic movie. You got this crazy guy named Peter who works at this shitty carnival place or something called Neverland. Like I said, that's one thing I don't like is these movies only have like bleak allusions to their source material, and it would actually what they're missing is they need to be more fun. They need to be more goofy. They keep playing themselves like straight up seriously, and that can kind of work with a Peter Pan thing because Peter Pan, there's a little bit of creepiness inherent in that story already of child abduction, but at the same time, it's still goofy to try to take this 100% seriously, and they're missing out on what would really work for these films, which is to have more fun with them. If these were treated more of just like goofy B movies, and it was like a killer Peter Pan, and that was just the irony of it, and it was treated more to be funny, this would work a lot better. As it is, the Peter dude just goes crazy. We don't really know why. I think there's one scene that shows he has no dick. But he's just like insane. He's saying he wants to take kids to Neverland, but really he's just like murdering them or torturing them or some shit. He's just kind of insane. And throughout the movie, I was wondering, is he supposed to be like the literal Peter Pan in this universe? Or is he supposed to be just like a crazy guy obsessed with like, the story of Peter Pan? The movie doesn't really specify. I guess by the end, we're just supposed to assume he's just a crazy guy who is the version of Peter Pan in this universe, that it really just doesn't have shit to do with the actual story except bare bones. But he kidnaps this kid at the beginning. You get kind of an interesting fight scene where he's like fighting the mom and he gets like his face slashed. Not too bad. He ends up killing the mom and he takes the boy whose name is James. And then by the end, I figured something like this was probably going to happen. He ends up turning into like, Captain Hook, because I believe Captain Hook's real name was James. And so by the end, he actually has a hook for his hand that he eventually uses at the end to like stab the Peter Pan dude, like drag him off into the basement or whatever, or the cellar. And that's the last you see of him. But then at the end, though, the main girl, whose name is Wendy, which actually, okay, actually think kind of worked, having her name be Wendy. She gets like a phone call or whatever, playing the same music that she heard from earlier in the film when after he abducted her little brother. So it implies like, oh, he may be still alive, which really makes no sense because after she like took this guy out, or the Hook or the Captain Hook version or whatever in this universe took him out, wouldn't the police be there? Wouldn't they call the police? Wouldn't the cops show up to like either arrest this dude and put him in prison if he was still alive, or take his dead body away? Like, it really makes no sense. And then there's this person named Tinkerbell here, who is actually like is literally a gay dude. He even calls himself a fairy. And you do get a scene that did make me laugh, where he eventually like betrays, Peter Pan because he knows Peter Pan's full of shit, and he just pretty much has Stockholm syndrome because he was abducted. And eventually he betrays Peter Pan and wants to help the little boy and his sister, his older sister, who comes there to save him, escape. And the older sister figures out where he's at because he goes to like abduct this little black boy who's friends with the little brother. And while he's there and like killing the family or whatever, she spots him leaving and she like follows his vehicle, and that's where she finds his hideout. She gets in there. We do get some okay fight scenes between her and like the Peter Pan wannabe dude or whatever, the crazy Peter Pan dude, in this universe, which are kind of alright. You do get some flashback scenes where he's like abducting kids, where he's showing him being like a creepy ass clown or a mime or whatever, and he's like looking at a kid going, it's like, there ain't no kid coming to you, brother. I'm sorry. This is purely a movie thing. No kid is going to trust your crazy looking mime ass. But yeah. Um, so, like I was saying, I did kind of feel sorry for the Tinkerbell dude, because by the end, after he's like betrayed Peter or whatever, Peter says something like, You know something? I don't fucking believe in fairies either. Which I thought was kind of funny. He like slams him down on the ground and cuts off his hand or whatever. And I was feeling sorry for the dude. I mean, he was like telling the Wendy girl or whatever not to give up and everything, and he was just getting like brutalized and killed. And I actually kind of felt sorry for him because he clearly had like mental problems from Stockholm syndrome because he's been abducted in this dude's place for so friggin' long. Um, but by the end or whatever, the Wendy chick, she rescues her brother, rescues the little black boy who is her brother's friend, and she thinks she's kicked Peter Pan's ass, and they like beat him in the face or whatever. He wears like this shitty mask. We never really find out why he's crazy. It alludes to like he mentions something like his mother like might have abused him or something, but it never really goes into real detail. We never really see anything. It's just kind of one sentence. So he's just crazy. And Neverland or whatever in this movie is just like a bunch of shit. Basically, he just takes kids down there and murders them or chains them up and tortures them. Apparently, like what he did with the James boy, who eventually turned to like the version of Captain Hook or whatever in this universe. Um, yeah, I thought that was a mistake. They kind of waste the Hook, like Captain Hook, like storyline and character from the Fable or whatever. It would have been cooler if Captain Hook was like a police officer or something, like searching for him, I mean, and then by the end he like blasted him down and killed him or whatever. That would have worked better. As is, by the time it ends, it's like one of those typical slash movie endings. Like you thought the killer was dead, even though he logically should be, but he is not. So it's like, before that, I was like, okay, this isn't very good, but it's kind of passable. And then you get like that lame cliche ending, and I was like, 1 star. This sucked. I would say it's probably a bit better than Blood and Honey, the first one. But this is still a bad movie. I would not watch this again. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you again.